Today, I'm going to take you through the payroll settings. Under the payroll settings, it'll allow you to create allowances, benefits, contributions, deductions directly onto the system. So you can see on the left-hand side, you'll guide your way to the payroll configuration and then click on payroll settings. You can see there's different tabs such as the allowance settings, benefit settings, contributions, and deductions. Now, the only way I can be able to attach these specific allowance settings that are global, I'll need to add an allowance settings. So once I add an allowance settings, I can create one and call it car allowance, give it a code, add maybe a description if need be, siphon through the payment modes. There are different types of payment modes, either daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, annual, or hourly. So the payment mode is aligned with your allowance settings. The effective date I'll use today, for example, is when that allowance setting is affecting the period. Then under the calculation types, there's fixed amount, percentage, with the percentage rate, an actual amount, which you'll key in once you attach an allowance to that particular employee. You can have it as a progressive band for different employees, from and to, and the type either it being fixed or percentage. Then lastly is the expression-based bands. For this, we'll just look at the fixed amount. So under the fixed amount, we have the 5,000 shillings. Then I'll go next. Now, the different flags are whether it's a cash-based allowance, whether it should be taxable, or whether it should be active in the payroll calculations. Once I've toggled those on and off, I can click save and the allowance settings will be saved. So these allowance settings are global, and it's the same for any other of the other settings: benefits, contributions, deductions, or loans. Now, once I've added this allowance setting, it's going to be a global setting, like I said. Then I can attach this allowance to a specific employee under the payroll data segment on your left. I'll click on allowances. Once it's loaded, I can add my allowance on the right-hand side. If you've already put all your employees onto the system, then you can either select or search the employees that you have on the system. Click on them. Select the allowance type that you've just set up. Then you see it's a fixed amount. It will come in, have the start date and the end date for this allowance. Then once the allowance is created for this particular employee, you'll be able to see it, the start and end date, and whether it's active.